What's up, everybody? I'm Dave Miranda, and this is episode 103 of Just Give Me 5. I hope you guys are doing great, continue to be amazing. We got a really awesome show lined up for you today, but if you guys see this incredible piece of art behind me, it was done by none other than my homegirl Antoinette. And I mean, it's just, I told Jimmy, I was like, yo, at some point, man, we have to film in front of that mural. We have to get in front of that art because it's powerful. It's just incredible, and shout out to you, Antoinette. Just another incredible artist out here in Arizona. I told you we still got to get you on the show sometime. So I'm holding you to it. All right. But if you guys caught episode 102, you saw we had none other than the one and only Be Easy. And let me tell you, now every guest that we've had on the show has been very appreciative. You know what I mean? There's a great amount of gratitude, but with Be Easy, it was different. You know what I'm saying? And I think the reason for it is because he was extra appreciative for the fact that he's a photographer. He's not a DJ. He's not, an artist, like a music artist, or somebody that's just out there like that in that field, right? He's always behind the scenes, behind the camera, right? And so for someone to give him the opportunity to tell his story and share it on a platform, it was just this unique form of gratitude, man. Very grateful, and as were we, because I'm a huge fan of his work. I have been for many, many years, and it was just an honor to have him on the show. He even gifted me with a huge piece of one of his shots that he's taken, and gifted it to me, brought it over, and I hung that bad boy up the next day. Let me tell you, because it was just so dope, and I was just very grateful that someone actually, they took the time to even do that for us, for the show, so it was just beautiful, man. And, truly, like I said, an honor to have him on, and I wish you nothing but continued success, my brother. And make sure you guys watch episode 102. All right. But today's guest is an absolute Arizona radio legend. We're going to talk about how he got in radio. We're also going to talk about his early days with Power 92, some memorable moments, including an incredible Tupac story, his family time, and so much more. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I present to you Charlie Huero.
Hey, what's up? It's Charlie Huero, and all I'm saying is just give me 5. Getting into radio was kind of an accident. I went to college to originally be a physical education teacher.
Okay.
I was good at 2 things in my life. I was good at sports, and I loved music. So unfortunately, I couldn't play music because, much like Nick Cannon and Drumline, I can't read a note of music, so I couldn't play it. I did play in marching bands, jazz bands, concert bands, so on and so forth. I was a drummer, but I didn't think I was going to be able to teach it. So instead of teaching it, I decided that I wanted to DJ it and do it that way. So while I was at the university going to physical education courses and being totally disgruntled by the way that path was taking me, I decided I was going to be a mobile disc jockey, because in the University of Wisconsin La Crosse newspaper, the State Press, there was a little advertisement in the back that said DJs wanted for American Entertainment, which was the name of the company.
Okay.
And so I applied, and I don't know what made them hire me, but I got a job, and I was DJing wedding dances and class reunions and bar parties and all that kind of stuff. In the 90s, man. Well, I got to kind of back up just a little bit on how that all came to fruition. I mean, Power 92 in the 90s was amazing. So how did it all happened to, get me from little La Crosse or Milwaukee, Wisconsin, all the way out to Phoenix. There's a path. I got hired on to work the mobile disc jockey company at a radio station in La Crosse, Wisconsin called Hit 105. And I just kept bugging the program director saying, hey, I'd love to get a shot in the studio, love to get a shot in the studio. And I think after about 3 or 4 months of me asking him all the time if I could get a shot in the studio, he finally gave me a shot. And it's one of those things where it's like, oh my God, he said yes. Now what do I do? So I got my opportunity to sit in the studio. He said, I tell you what, you come in a couple hours before the Dave Sholin Countdown USA program's over. And this was like a Sunday morning. So we're talking like 4 a.m. to 6 a.m., right? Okay. And I remember the first song that I ever introduced was by Paul Carrick from The Squeeze, but he was on a solo project. And I butchered his name. I mean, it was bad. It was just bad. So I don't know what these guys saw. Maybe it was just drive to do stuff. But I finished out the 2 hours, and I eventually got part-time on the radio up in tiny La Crosse, Wisconsin. And it kind of transitioned into doing bigger and better things. My girlfriend at the time was moving to Milwaukee, which is my hometown. Okay. And so I'm going to go to Milwaukee, but I don't have a radio gig. So I sent out 2 air checks. One of those air checks went to Rick Thomas, who was working at Hot 102 in Milwaukee. I got a phone call the day after I got home. So literally I sent it out, and I went home on a Saturday. On Monday, my phone rang, and it was Rick Thomas saying, I want to talk to you. So I went down, and he hired me in the big giant boombox that they would take out on remotes. So I got a part-time gig on the radio, which turned into overnights almost instantly. So I did that, and then long story short, Rick leaves Milwaukee, and he hires me in San Diego. So I go do work in San Diego at Z90, which was a radio station that was about 3 months old. Okay. So it's still doing its thing. Big heritage station out there. So that's something I'm kind of proud of. So I was there from 90 to 93, and then I got a phone call to go work at Power 106 in Los Angeles. So I did that for 3 years till 96, went to San Antonio for about 11 months. I counted those 11 months because it was okay. Right. The good thing was that I was there with my wife's dad's side of the family. We spent some time with her family out there. Soon after we left San Antonio, her grandfather had passed away. So I believe that was destiny, that we had to be there. And that was KTFM in San Antonio. And then I had gotten a call from Bruce St. James, who I've watched on your work here. And he talked about starting a radio station in San Diego, Magic 95.7. Bruce called me and said, hey, starting a radio station in San Diego. You want to come? And I'm like, I'll be there tomorrow. But then there was the long waiting process, literally about 5 months of waiting, and finally made it out to San Diego. And just like Bruce was talking about, we fired up a radio station. I bought thousands of dollars of CDs at Tower Records because the station was that secretive that we didn't want to contact record labels to say, hey, can you send us this product because we need these types of songs? Right. So we were totally under the radar. So I was literally at Tower Records buying all the music for that radio station. And like he said, we launched it at the train station right across the street from this beautiful building. And it wasn't too long after that where it was sold. And again, to kind of rehash what Bruce was talking about, yep, off to Phoenix. And it was a phone call right there. You want to come to Phoenix? Yeah. Like, yeah. So, so we did that. San Diego is my wife's hometown. So kind of, well, that's where she spent a lot of her years growing up. So it was one of those things where leaving was kind of a challenge. I will say that in that leave, I came out here earlier than my wife did. And in between that time, my wife calls me on the phone and says, I got great news for you. And I was like, we got the moving van discounted. And she's like, no, it's not that. I'm like, we got the boxes and wrapping for discounted. No, better news than that. Turns out my wife was pregnant with our first child, who's now 23, right? So it was kind of a little bit of a destiny type thing. So starting at Power in the early 90s was amazing. Of course, we called the little building down here, what's on First Avenue. We used to call it the Crack House because, well, you can imagine what kind of people were hanging out in front of that building back in the day, right? So it is what it is, but man, we loved it because it was so homey. Like, we had our studio, and in order for the mixers to communicate with the guy on the radio, we had to literally run out through the hallway going, all right, 30 seconds and I'm going to talk, and it was just done like that. So, I mean, so many great people through that building and so many amazing things on those early days at Power and working with such a great crew of folks. It was awesome. So, yeah. And then leaving Power and then working some years at Cool and then coming over here and working at Hot 97.5, 103.9. I'm a blessed individual. Radio is, it's a people industry. As much as, DJs talk in microphones and spread words through microphones and talk to people and listeners and so on and so forth, it's people in the building that is crucial. You make so many friendships and you meet so many new people, and everybody is at a different skill set. Everybody's at a different stage in their career. I've had the pleasure, of even just these Phoenix days from 1998 till today of, seeing so many different people that I know that even you've talked to, Lady Law, DJ M2, Alexander Maria, I mean, the list goes on and on and on of all the people that have kind of formed Phoenix Radio, and to work with people like, DJ Fashion and all these people who have gone on to do bigger and better things. It's heartwarming because, as much as this is a business, it's our craft. I mean, outside of doing radio, I don't know, greeter at Walmart. I'm not. Right. It's like I'm not gonna go pick up a different trade to do. I just love people, and I think. Especially here in Phoenix, and there's a lot of different markets out there who can say the same thing, but Phoenix is, we know a lot of people in the market, and we've worked with a lot of people in the market, and one of the things I just wanted to touch on a little bit is when you read some of the stuff in the trades, even the local trades, it's disheartening on how negative people can be. This is our business. This is our craft. Radio is what we do. It's, we don't get anywhere by knocking each other down. And there's just so much negativity. Why does this station do that? And why does this person do this? And it's like, I don't know. We just didn't wake up and say, hey, let's do this and see how many people we could piss off today. I mean, it's just, right. As much as there's money involved by, bigger corporations that are in the market, and what I'm blessed with here at Hot 97.5 is this is mom and pop, man. The guy who owns the radio station is right down the hall right there. And I can walk in his office at any time and have a conversation. We do this because this is what we love to do. From promotions people to mixers on the radio to mixers in the clubs to artists. I mean, Poker Face. I mean, I ran into him a couple weeks ago when I came up here. He's sitting in Complex's office. And all these people, we all know each other, and we've all spent time, and we're still here, and we're still doing our thing. And the reason why is because this is what we love to do. And like I said, I don't really feel like being a greeter at Walmart today, so I'll do that later. I mentioned it earlier. I've been blessed to be in the right place at the right time. I really don't think that it was all, super talent. Like, I just think that I was in the right place at the right time and knew the right people and spent time with a lot of folks that helped bring me along. One of the stories that I remember is when I was at Power 106 in Los Angeles. I was doing the overnights, and man, overnights were great in LA. I mean,
Yeah.
come on now, it's Los Angeles, right?
Right.
And it's Los Angeles radio was awesome, and so I would wrap up my show, and the morning show was the Baker Boys. And the Baker Boys were on right after me. But I always hung out at the radio station primarily because, well, I don't know, I probably drank a 2-liter bottle of Mountain Dew and I was amped. I was just totally amped. So going home wasn't an option. So I would always hang out and do some work on some different things, production and whatnot. And then, so one morning, the Baker Boys, they found me in the production room. They said, "Hey, can you do us a favor?" I'm like, "Yeah, what do you need?" They're like, "Somebody's going to be coming up to the back door in about 20 minutes. Can you just let them in and bring them into the studio?" I'm like, "Sure." So sure enough, back door buzzes, and we were in one of those buildings in California where it was 4 stories, and it was primarily owned by Disney, and we were like the only floor in Burbank that was the radio station, right? So I go to the back door, and it's Ice Cube.
Oh, wow.
And he's standing there by himself, and he's like, "Hey," I'm like, "Hey, Baker Boys are waiting for you." And he's like, "Great." So I walk Cube down to the studio, and he's got a 7-inch reel box, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Okay." And he's like, "Hey, I want to play this song on the radio, but the problem is it's not clean, so it needs to have some edits." And so Nick, he's like, "Hey, Charlie, can you edit this real quick?" And of course, I'm like, "Sure." So here I am. Number one, in the back of my head, this is Ice Cube's 7-inch reel. This is Ice Cube's 7-inch reel, right? Like, I'm like, "Oh man, don't want to mess this up," right?
Exactly.
Get in the production room, throw it on, and of course, this is all reel to reel time, so it's like, you're going through and you're finding the F words and the S words and all the cuss words, and you're cutting and pasting and flapping them over, and doing all of the China marker and tape and editing the song down, and getting into the studio. So that was one memory that I've always thought of, just and because Cube just became so much more than hip hop, getting into movies and just watching his career, and now watching his son. It's kind of like, yeah, I can say that was cool.
Do you remember what song it was that he wanted to
I
do?
I think it was "You Know How We Do It."
So this was like Lethal Injection Cube.
Yeah, man, and I could be wrong. All I remember was I was shaking with the razor blade while I was trying to slice that reel, and just making sure that I did it right, because I mean, this is his work, and you want to make it sound good on the radio. So that was interesting. And then another really super cool story that I had from the Power 106 days is. We had a team of people working on a charity CD called Straight from the Streets. We had a separate department of people that literally did all the licensing and all the work to get the legal rights to the song. So in other words, we just didn't slap it together and put it out, because it would have been copyright infringement. So we had to have a team of people working behind the scenes to work with all the lawyers and make sure everything was on the up and up, right? So we released the CD Straight from the Streets, and we had a CD release party. We have all these listeners out there hanging out, and we had a lot of clients come out, and of course the charity organization and all our team. And then I noticed out of the corner of my eye, walking in the front door, is Tupac, and Pac is by himself. Nobody, no entourage. Like, he just showed up. He had given us permission to use a song on the CD, and he just showed up out of nowhere, and he stayed for like 35, 40, 45 minutes and hung out and signed autographs and took pictures with people. And you hear all these stories and you watch all the specials on MTV and this, that, and the other thing, or Real TV and all that stuff, and you see all the negative stuff where he's in trouble, and of course those things happen. But what they don't show is the human side of Pac. He came on his own accord, didn't have to be there. He was yes sir, no sir, thank you for having me on the CD. He was so appreciative that we included him in this project. It was like night and day. I'm like, is this really Tupac or is this a double? It was it was amazing, and I will never ever forget that moment where I was like, wow, put it in a different perspective. So that was really something special. The one last thing that I like to hang my hat on is something that just happened out of nowhere, and I forget about it until somebody asks, like, so when I just got brought on board here at Hot 97.5, they had a sales meeting, and of course, and sitting in the sales meeting, and they're like, well, so Charlie, we do this thing here where we got 2 truths and a lie, right? Yeah. So I do the 2 truths and a lie, and I write down my stuff, and one of the things that I wrote down on the 2 truths and a lie was that I'm in a Selena video. So a lot of people pick that as the lie, and it's actually the truth. Oh, wow. If you pull up on YouTube the video for Dreaming of You by Selena. Classic, right? And you watch the video. The video is about a girl and a guy and how, they're trying to be romantic, and boyfriend and girlfriend, and she leaves the house to go with him and all this kind of stuff. So it's, it doesn't feature Selena because unfortunately this was made after she had passed. But there's a voice. The girl in the video walks into her bedroom and she turns up the radio, and my voice is on the radio introducing the Selena song. And then at the end of the video, when they're actually, the boy and the girl are in the car and driving away, he turns up the car radio, and it's me outroing the Dreaming of You song. Wow, man, I remember that. Which, it came out of nowhere. I mean, I got a call from Sean Lynch at the record company. He's like, hey, can you lay down a couple tracks for me real quick? I just like an intro, like I mean, literally, he explained this to me in like 60 seconds. Right. I went in the production room, cut like 4 or 5 different takes of it, and had to get a courier, because obviously this is back in the day when we didn't have, send it over the internet. Yeah, so I'd have a courier come in, pick it up, and took it down, and they put it in the video, and now it's got like 40 some odd million hits on YouTube, and I haven't got a dime for it. So it's all right though. It's just that fact and knowing it's pretty cool. It's funny because after I left LA, and all of that had happened, I was in at KTFM in San Antonio. They were filming the movie with Jennifer Lopez. Yeah. And in San Antonio, they used the Alamo Dome to be the part of the Selena movie where she's in Houston at the rodeo. Yeah. So I've got some old pictures somewhere. They're buried somewhere where I'm like 5,000 feet away from Jennifer Lopez. She's on the wagon being carted into the stage and everything. So, but our radio station had to get all the extras. So all of the people that you see, like if you ever watched the Selena movie with Jennifer Lopez, all the people at that scene were from us being on the radio going, all right, if you want to be an extra in this Selena movie, we need you to be at this location at this time. And it took forever to film all that stuff. But super cool to be a part of that history. And of course, San Antonio being Selena's spot, there was definitely a different love for her in that city. So it was pretty cool. Family life is extremely important to me because my family is so small. I come from a small family in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. My dad had 3 brothers, and my mom was pretty much an only child. She had a younger brother who passed when he was like very, very young. He was an infant. So my family was very small. I think I have 3 cousins total. I have 3 cousins. That's it. My wife, on the other hand, has a monstrous family. When I met my wife in San Diego when I was working at Z90, she was working at remember Robinson's May.
Robinson's May.
Right.
Yeah.
So before they merged, it was just Robinson's, and she was working in the domestic section, where you buy bed sheets and plates and all that kind of stuff. Right. She was working in the domestic section in Spring Valley in San Diego, and my buddy, my roommate, Fast Eddie, he worked at the radio station as well. He needed bed sheets for his bed, so we went to Spring Valley, went to the mall, and one of the things that we did, and this is the Rick Thomas school of promoting a radio station because we had $0, was we would always ask people who looked like they were in the demographic of the radio station, our target audience. We needed to ask them questions. What's your favorite song? Who's your favorite DJ? Right. What do you listen to? What station do you listen to? What's your favorite place to hang out at? What bars do you go? What clubs do you go to? All this stuff. So that was ingrained in our minds as on-air talent, as promotions people, as anybody who worked there. That's what we did because there was $0 for any type of research, right? In fact, we didn't even have money for bumper stickers, and that's another story. But so here we are at Robinson's May, and of course, I see this beautiful girl behind the counter, and my roommate goes up to her and is looking for bed sheets, and of course, then I get into the whole questionnaire about, hey, what's your favorite radio station? And I asked her, I said, what's your favorite song? And she said, my favorite song is Diamond Girl by Nice and Wild.
Wow.
And I was like, okay. Yeah, I'm saying, right? I'm like, okay. I don't even think I get requests for that at the radio station. I just know that it's one of those songs when it comes on. If you're in a club or at the radio station, people dance to it and it's fun, right? And I get it. So I go back to the radio station and it was, like a week later and I'm on the air. I was doing nights at the time and answer the request line. And this person says, hey, can you play Diamond Girl by Nice and Wild? And I'm like, is this the girl that works at Robinson's company? She's like, yes. And that's it. That's how I met my wife. We got married. We've been married for 27 years now, and we have 2 beautiful children. Sophia's 19 at NAU, and my oldest is Mia. She's 23, and she's a rock star. So I mean that in the sense of what she's doing for work. She works in a lab. She tests weed to make sure that the potency is what it is, and then it gets distributed to the dispensaries. So she just works in the lab. She wears a lab coat. It's very, on the She is a biology major from ASU, so it's what she had to do. So my wife has a big family. She's Mexican and Filipino. So the Mexican side of the family lives in San Antonio, and the Filipino side of the family lives in San Diego. And I can tell you that I have the best of both worlds when I go to visit family with lumpia and tacos. I'm a huge fan. Too much food is made at family get-togethers. It's crazy.
Right.
And I'm just this white boy from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Tacos was Taco Bell. But when you get into a carne asada burrito, that was like my diet doing nights at Z90. So, and then of course, you got lumpia and all this amazing food on the Filipino side of the family. So, Yeah, family life it's a big deal to me. My wife she works for a local ad agency in the market. She's a partner. When I had met her and when we had gotten together, I moved to Los Angeles from San Diego, and I was working at Power, and then she came up and she eventually got a job working at Priority Records, with which was, Cube's label and Eazy-E and all that kind of stuff. And she worked in the National Urban Department. She was the assistant. I was telling you before we started this that one of the craziest things that she did is Eazy-E would come up all the time with his little kid, and her and the other girls in the office would watch Eazy's kid while he met with Brian Turner, and so it's just crazy. Again, right place at the right time and just being lucky. But she's amazing. She's doing her thing, and my kids are doing their thing. And the coolest thing I think I love about my kids is they've never ever asked me for a concert ticket. They've all these years of doing radio, and all the people that they could come by, I've had to practically drag them to things, because I know that, hey, they like, the Jonas Brothers when the Jonas Brothers were big. So I got pictures of my kids with the Jonas Brothers. I have a picture of me and 50 Cent, and my oldest wouldn't look at the camera. So, I mean, it's like they were a part of this growing up, but they've never said, hey, Dad, can you get us tickets to blank show? Like, I've never had to go down that road. And still to this day, I mean, they don't ask me for anything regarding any of that stuff. So I don't know. You'd probably have to interview them to see what they thought about any of the stuff, because they're pretty mum on it for me. So. It wasn't too long ago when I was let go from my last job working at Cool. Sorry. Things just hit hard sometimes.
Yeah, man.
So, working across the street at the other radio station, and doing my thing, and I was there since '09, and it's 2022. And I was out of the building in 90 seconds, and that hurt. And it was amazing to me of the people at that radio station who reached out and said, I heard, and I'm sorry. What was more amazing to me is the phone calls from people and the text messages from people that didn't work in that building that I work with in this market. And it wasn't too long after that happened that I got a phone call to come up here and talk to Mr. Trumper and to Mike G here at Hot 97.5, and just running into the people in the building, Dion, Complex. The list is so long. There's, Lorraine. She works in the office part of the building. The people who actually reached out and said, "You need to," we went to Mike G and said this would be perfect. Jello, all the people in this building. It was overwhelming, and I get emotional about that because it just blows my mind. Radio's a cutthroat business. I've said this so many times that the programming department is the department that spends the money, and guess who gets cut first? The people who spend the money. And it's not necessarily anybody's fault why people get let go and so on and so forth. It's unless you do something really silly, stupid. I think that there's much to be said about building bridges rather than burning them. And I've tried to do a really super good job of not burning bridges, because you never know when you're going to come across that bridge again. If I treat Dion like a jerk, guess what doesn't happen? he doesn't go to the PD and say, "Hey, I just had a friend that was let go across the street. You need to talk to this guy." That doesn't happen. So I think that, Stephen Wright said it, the world's really small, but I wouldn't want to paint it. And it's true. I mean, when you look at 6 degrees of separation, I think for all of us in this radio industry, it's more like 3 degrees of separation. Who do we know, and we've all, the web of the people is in, you get minute like just Phoenix, but then you think, nationwide. I know people all across the country. And it's been a blessing, to be a part of this industry and a part of this radio family, so to speak. I mean, here, Snake's on, and I've known Snake for years, and now we're working again. It's working together again, and DJ Pauly. I mean, the world is so small, and going back to what I was talking about a little bit earlier in our chat here, is that it hurts me sometimes when I read the trade sheets online, and all the negativity that's out there. It's like, we need to stick up and stand up for each other. I don't care what radio station it is, I don't care what the industry is, if we just got to do better. That's been my thing. And I'm at that age right now. Like I said, I was telling you earlier, I'm either going to do this, or I'm going to go be a greeter at Walmart and make fun of everybody walking in the building. It is what it is, right? Shout outs. I mean, there's so many people to mention, that the list would be so long. And, watching some of the videos that you've done, which have been so amazing. I commend the people who can remember the names, and I commend the people who just say, you know what, I want to thank everybody, which is a good part of it. But definitely, I got to go back to the beginning, when Rick Thomas gave me my shot at Hot 102 in Milwaukee back in the 80s. And I don't know what he heard or what he saw, but he gave me not only that chance, but he gave me a second chance by bringing me to San Diego, and that all kind of grew. There were so many people at, those radio stations that I worked with, Christy Knight, and then being able to work with people like Rick Cummings and Michelle Mercer and Bruce St. James at Power, and that whole crew there, and all of those DJs, Big Boy, Baker Boys. I'll even go as far as saying Curtis Blow, because I had to teach him how to use the board too at the radio station. But yeah, I know, trippy, right? So and then just all of the markets, and every market has a special place in my heart, and every I keep up. I try to keep up. I know that the radio station I worked in San Antonio isn't doing what it's doing anymore. So, but I made friends and relationships there. To all the people that I worked with over at Cool Radio, the DJ Decipher, Nico, Abe, producer Abe, Abe Baby, Squeak Boogie. Yeah, man. I love that kid. There's just been so many people that it's hard to get into, and just, again, like I said, coming here and working with Dion and Jello and all these people back in this building again, it's like a homecoming for me. And there's a different mentality, and there's a different attitude, and there's a different feel in the air. Yeah, so shout outs to all of those people and anybody who's been a part of my journey. My wife, for picking up every 3 years or so and moving to another city. Golly, man, I couldn't ask for more. So now, because her job is bigger than my job, I get to, I say be a greeter at Walmart. I'm not joking. I'm ready to go do it, right? Because she's a rock star, and my kids. So, to all of my family, my mom and dad, rest in peace, who let me do my dream. When I left Milwaukee to move to San Diego, it was the first FU fight I ever had with my dad, and the last one. He didn't want me to go. He didn't want me to leave. He thought it was too risky. My mom was like, follow your dream. And as soon as I got out there, my dad had apologized. He had said, Forever Young from Rod Stewart. He's like, this is the song. So anyways, so I don't know if I was the most emotional guy on your chats, but it is what it is. So to the radio and record industry folks, record industry people, local people, I love you, and thank you for being a part of my journey. And that's it. Charlie Huero.
And there you have it. Man, shout out to my man Charlie Huero. You know, when I first heard Charlie on the radio, I was 14 years old. I was in 9th grade, listening to him on Power 92. And, you know, to meet him and have him on, you know, a platform that I host 25 years later, shit, don't get no better than that. Don't get no better than that. You know, and I want to thank you, my brother, for sharing your story with us, sharing your journey on our platform now. And it was truly an honor to have you on, man. I wish you nothing but the best and nothing less. Make sure you guys are following him on social media. Put down the burger, put down the jelly donut, and I need you to hit that subscribe button. Then I need you to take that hand, I need you to roll over, and I need you to hit that bell notification so you get notified on all our upcoming episodes, all right? Okay. Well, this was definitely one for the books. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Until next time, stay tuned, stay blessed, stay healthy, and just give me 5, y'all.
Everything